Today we're going with some of your favorites. We're placating to our fan base, and we are going to talk today about the Diamondbacks targeting pitching and a bat. Of course, one of the things that Mike Hazen discussed today was that pitching would be their main priority, and I feel like we've known that this entire time. That's never been a secret, but he didn't put any emphasis on starting pitching being more important than bullpen or vice versa.
Yeah, so our first guy is one David Bednar, a guy that a lot of people have talked about in our chat, and we're finally appealing to the masses and talking about him on the show.
It's your guy, guys.
His stats this year are absolutely incredible. 1.15 ERA, a .95 whip. He's pitched 39 innings. I believe he has 19 saves for the Pirates this year. 10.8 Ks per nine, 2.1 walks per nine. He has a sparkling 1.98 FIP, which does suggest some overperformance. Maybe the 115 isn't going to be sustainable in the long term. But
how is that possible, Jesse?
The D-backs could deal with the 1.98, even if that's what it winds up being in the long term. Bednar is one of the best back end relievers in all of baseball. And yeah, I mean, the thought of having him in Arizona probably puts the minds of many Diamondbacks fans at ease.
I'd like to see it.
He's an absolute unit, too.
Every picture of him is so hot. Every picture of him is just
I was looking at photos for these graphics, and he's an absolute unit.
Yeah. I mean, he's got such closer energy, man.
Yeah, you want to talk about like a presence on the mound. David Bednar absolutely has that figured out. If we look at the pros and cons of bringing Bednar to Arizona, the pros, of course, he's elite, one of the best back-end relievers in baseball. I don't think there's any question. He's affordable. He's making $745,000 this year in pre-arbitration. Next year, he'll hit arbitration for the first time, so that salary will see a considerable jump from $745 going into next season, but still very reasonable. And he's controllable. How many years? He has 3 more years of control after this one, so you're getting 3.5 years of him.
All of the prospects at the Pirates for him. All of the we've talked about giving up a king's ransom for somebody as crazy as Ohtani or whatever. The Diamondbacks have never had this kind of guy. Well, no, I lie about that. They've actually gone out and got this guy several times. Then when he came over to the Diamondbacks, he ended up being horseshit. But I don't believe that about David Bednar. I think he's going to be awesome, and the Diamondbacks should make it a priority to make this man an Arizona Diamondback.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously, I guess Diamondbacks fans have been spurned by this before, so you fear that he comes over and doesn't perform like that. But
right.
I mean, I feel like this is the easiest way to make your team like significantly better with one player is by getting a closer that you know you can trust by going when you go to the bullpen, because it's something that this team does not have. Like it just having like just the trust factor, I feel like makes this team better, ignoring the fact that, I mean, obviously he's an amazing player and would be the best arm in the bullpen. But
plus it would be time to go to Bednar.
Mm-hmm.
Time to put the kids to Bednar. Time to blow out the candles and put out the Bednar. I don't know. There's lots of stuff we could do. Turn down the Bednar.
Oh, when you have Scott McGuff as a setup man, yes. Bednar as a closer, turn out the candles and go to bed.
Go to bed, yeah.
Scott McGuff didn't look like much.
He did give up 4 runs in the
Okay, but no one on his team does. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, he's right.
Jesse, tell us about the cons.
He's right.
Yeah, so con number 1 is the prospect cost, which would absolutely be enormous. Con number 2 is a lack of playoff experience. He has pitched for the Pirates. And then con number 3 is once again prospect cost, because it will
that wasn't a mistake,
it
folks.
will cost an enormous amount to bring David Bednar to Arizona. We have a trade proposal.
How much? This much.
This is my best guess of like, I'm kind of towing the line here between like what the Pirates would ask for and what the Diamondbacks would be willing to offer. If I'm being honest, I think the Pirates would probably not do this trade.
They wouldn't want.
I would take that trade. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think D-backs fans probably maybe like this. Pirates fans, I don't think would like this, nor do I think the Pirates front office would like this. We have the Pirates getting Brandon Pfaadt, Ivan Melendez, and Dominic Fletcher
in a heartbeat.
I think people would maybe be okay. I mean, Brandon Pfaadt, like if he is a mid rotation starter, like trading 6 years of a mid rotation starter for 3.5 years of a closer, you know, maybe you don't feel so great about that. But I think the jury's still out on.
Well, who needs a mid rotation starter when Zach Gallen is going to be pitching for the fucking Rangers in 2 years?
Can't believe of all people at this table that Jesse Friedman, who wrote an article on Go PHNX.com is saying anything about the Diamondbacks bullpen situation when they have historically been bad. Never have had they haven't had a guy like David Bednar in their bullpen that was pulling the kind of numbers that he is for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I don't care. I think that as far as this team goes, we talk about the future a lot. We talk about a lot of different things. We are on a ticking clock when it comes to Zach Gallen being a part of this team. And just today, Torey Lovullo said that when it came to like trade deadline acquisitions, that the one guy that like he really got excited about was Zach Gallen. He also brought up JD Martinez. He said he went into his office and like did like fist bumps when they got JD Martinez, which we all did that. But yes, when they got Zach Gallen, he was very, very excited about how good Zach Gallen could be and how good he could be for this organization for potentially a long time, right? So now we know Zach Gallen not here for so long. So he's not here for a long time, but he's here for a good time, and we need to make sure we maximize that, try to win a championship while Zach Gallen is still part of this team.
Another thing I want to say about this is the Pirates have tons of leverage here. Like, they don't have to move David Bednar. He's under control for 3.5 more years. Yeah. You could just as easily hold on to him and try this again next trade deadline when you might get pretty big offers then too, or even the trade deadline after that. Like, the Pirates hold all of the cards here. They have said that they are willing to listen to offers for David Bednar. That has been reported. They've also said that they're willing to listen on Mitch Keller, who is another all-star for them, really good starting pitcher. So I think they're just kind of doing their due diligence and seeing what kinds of offers are out there. My guess is that they're asking for the sun, moon, and stars for David Bednar at this point, and there's frankly no reason for them to take anything less than that. If you look at, like, I don't know, the Josh Hader trade from last season, the Brewers didn't actually get like a ton in that trade. I think this offer is quite a bit wealthier than that one. But I think we have to think that way because the Pirates just hold all of the cards here, and they're not the kind of team, as we saw with Brian Reynolds, they're not the kind of team to just like trade a piece just to trade a piece. Like, they're going to get what they want, or they're just going to move on. That's kind of what I expect them to do here.
And I feel like the Diamondbacks kind of are in that same position too. Like, the Diamondbacks don't really need, again, I don't think
the Diamondbacks don't need a closer, right?
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was saying the Diamondbacks don't need to be desperate, right? Like, I understand wanting to improve your team and such, but I think at the end of the day, Mike Hazen isn't going to act in desperation when it comes to any of these trades. One of the things that worries me the most is we just had a very long, interesting conversation with Brent Strom about some improvements that he made to Brandon Pfaadt. And it seemed to those improvements translated over to him having a much better outing in his last start. And he will have one more outing before the trade deadline. Now, if he just goes out there and fucking shoves in that outing, what kind of position does the Diamondbacks put that in if another team now, in fact, wants Brandon Pfaadt as part of the trade package? Now, the change that Brent Strom made was moving Brandon Pfaadt to the other side of the plate, but then he went on a very long explanation in the dugout for Steve Gilbert that I eavesdropped on that talked about how basically he wanted Pfaadt to kind of change, like, to be more deceptive with his pitches and have those pitches kind of have a later break where you don't know if it's a fastball or changeup or curveball and such. And he talked about how moving him to the other side of the rubber helped with his arm angle and how that's going to improve him and being deceptive to pitchers and or to batters. And honestly, sometimes something as small as that can be the key for a guy like figuring it out a bit, right? He was also talking about like arm movement and stuff and saying like if you see this every time, then you have no idea what's going on. But he was saying, like, in regards to perhaps some of the tip pitching or pitch tipping and stuff that they were doing, that maybe there was like a little bit of slower arm movement that then lets you see that a changeup or some sort of off-speed pitch is coming and such. So it was minor things that Brent Strom was talking about, but sometimes those little pieces of advice, that little wisdom, can be the thing that makes a pitcher figure it out. And Pfaadt right now, he still has a lot of value to me, and I don't like the idea of necessarily saying Pfaadt is just an easily discardable piece for this team, because I feel like he could be one of those guys that we as a fan base absolutely despise the organization for trading when he goes on to find success elsewhere, right? We always felt like he could be good, but we just never got to see him reach that potential, and that's a scary proposition. So